At first it was sports, like basketball, then I wanted to DJ, then I wanted to MC, and I did that for a little while. But
what was your MC name?
Don't worry about it.
Who are your biggest inspirations, like acting-wise, directing-wise?
The ones that always pop into my head, and it seems silly, but I think it's important to say, is Fresh Prince and Kenan and Kel. And probably Wesley Snipes, because he was like super popping back then when I was younger. I don't know if they're my biggest inspirations, but to be more specific, they were big inspirations.
Starred Up is like one of our favourite films. There's that scene you guys do where, you know, you're in the room and it's like, it's so tense, and I'm just fascinated if that's like, how much of that is improvised and how much of that is kind of in the script sort of thing.
So I think the scene you're talking about in particular is the one where there's a bit of a standoff between me and Gershwin Eustache, brilliant actor who is also at this theatre doing a play as well,
Oh, okay.
So that scene, if you remember it, is all scripted up until he says, "Why is he standing up?" I don't know if you remember, he says, "Why is he standing up for?" And then as soon as I heard that, I reacted to that, and then we start going back and forth, and it comes off script for a good while. And then there's a big, you know, the bit where it goes silent and we're just looking at each other. That's not scripted either. And I remember being in the scene. Going, how do we come back to the script? Because we've come so far off. And then anyway, we found our way back and it was fine. And we did that in one take. But when we rehearsed it, we hadn't done that. And so David was like, "Oh, I really liked what you guys did before, but you know, this is great."
The writer of a script, like, I wonder how much they incorporate like the slang as well that you guys are probably more familiar with. Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
and this is what I am sort of embarrassingly have to admit now, because you just brought it up, is that when I read it, I was like, man, don't talk like that. We don't talk like that. That's what I was like, right? And I told Jonathan this as well, but like, that was my ignorance, because something about like being within this culture in this world, I feel like I know all of it, but sometimes you just don't, right? And he spent years in prisons in London, different prisons, and working with like really violent offenders and actually doing the work that happens in the film. So I read it quickly going, yeah, but I mean, that can change and da-da-da-da-da. And then come to find out he's a don in that world. He's actually, you know, completely authentic. And I had to go humble myself and be like, no, he knows what he's talking about.
Guys, have you heard this? Right, in school, right, I've got an 11-year-old cousin. They're teaching him that the world is round.
So you're getting a hot air balloon, right?
Yeah.
The hot air balloon goes up.
Yes.
If the world is spinning, why does the hot air balloon come back and land in the exact same place? Just saying.
It doesn't land in exactly the same place.
Tell us about a bit about the Barbershop Chronicles.
It's a brand new play written by Inua Ellams and directed by Bijan Shabani about black barbershops. And it's based in London and about 6 countries in Africa, and throughout the play you go back and forth between these different countries, and you have loads of different characters that kind of connect in like weird ways. The writer was Inua was really interested in barbers being taught how to be therapists of some kind. So when, like, you know, guys would come into their chair and be like having some kind of troubles or struggles, they could be trained in some sense to kind of manage and help these people. So it came from that place. And then he traveled to those countries and recorded barbershops and recorded people's conversations, and then brought all this information back and wrote this play. And then it got made and put on. We was on in the summertime, did really well, and they wanted to come back, so we're back now.
Listening to trumpet.
You should have said.
What's your advice for up and coming actors?
I think if you don't love it, then you probably shouldn't be doing it. There's a lot of rejection, and you just have to keep your nerve about you. And even for me, you know, I've worked for a little while now and done relatively well, but I still get a lot of rejection. Do you know what I mean? It's not like I'm just coasting my way, you know, up some imaginary ladder. It can be a bit of a bad thing to say that you're obsessed with something, but I feel like it can be good for you to be obsessed with something at times. And I definitely was obsessed with acting in the beginning, and I knew it was for me because I couldn't think about anything else, and I couldn't help but watch those films. I couldn't help but go see that play and research that actress or that actor and who represents them, and like just get completely immersed in the world. And yes, I think there's probably a time where that can get unhealthy because you can't think of anything else, and it might be like a drain to your energy. But I think as long as you're wary of that and you recognize that, that's fine. Be obsessed and go for it. And there's no way that just can't soak into you, and like you become a better actor because of knowing that play you saw last week was terrible, and the reasons it was terrible was because and the reason I really enjoyed this performance was because and you only get to those places by seeing loads and loads and loads of stuff, and then starting to know what you like and what your strengths are and your weaknesses are, and do classes, write, just immerse yourself in the whole world, I suppose is my advice.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that's it, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Cheers.
Wicked, man. Let me just say to your people and everything, I love what you guys are doing. Eli contacted me. We haven't met each other before, and I looked at what he's up to and his team, and I think it's sick. So I had to come and support your thing, man. So all the best in your endeavors, your random acts, and everything you got coming up.
Shout out. Thank you, man. I appreciate that a lot.